Hello,
How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm also doing good. Namaste, Neerja ji. Your mic is mute. Yeah.
Sorry. Namaste.
Hello, namaste. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, Shamaida. We haven't formally met before, but I have followed your work on Facebook. Okay.
All of you.
Mic is on now.
Good evening, everyone.
Good
Good
evening.
evening.
Good evening. Hi.
Hello. I'm Irene. A welcome hug from Greece.
Thank you.
Are we waiting for more poets to come?
Yeah.
No, I think we are all here, right? Gayatri is here. Aparna needs to be here. And there's one more thing. I thought, well, by the time Aparna joins, we could just thresh out a couple of things. How many poems are each of you planning to read? I have Shamaita is here. Gayatri is also here. Gayatri, are you reading two? Is that right?
Yeah, they're not very long poems, so I thought two should be
Yes.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Shamaita, you have three, is it, or two?
I have 5. I can reduce
Five.
to say, but I
Okay.
think I'll be done in 5 minutes. That's what Preet told me.
We are reading
Okay.
in our
Yes,
own language. We are reading in
5 to
our
7.
own mother tongue and translations also, no? Or only in our own language?
No, if you have a translation of that particular poem, please read it like that. I think
Okay.
everybody else, some of them are reading English. Oh no, what I wanted was, in order to just work the format out, where I invite each of you, I thought we could go in this order.
Is going
Neeraja,
live on YouTube? We already started or not? We are discussing here. That's why I'm asking.
oh yeah, that's true.
Recording is going on or live on YouTube?
It's live right now, but that's okay.
That's okay. That's okay. Yes.
At least that way they'll know
It
we are
is
human.
fine.
Okay.
Yes, we have to sort things out as
Right.
always. Yes.
So I was thinking we could go in this order: Neeraja, Shamaita, Aparna, Sushma, Gayatri. We could go like that. And suppose we do one round of reading. At the end of each person's reading, we could probably talk about the poem. That is, you can tell us the circumstances under which you wrote the poem, maybe before or just after you finished reading. Before would be ideal. And then, you read the poem, contextualize it, and then possibly, we could offer our impressions on it. That way it would be a very, let's say, a productive kind of a session. Something we did with Ananta, right, Gayatri? That kind of a thing.
Yes, of course, I remember.
So I think that would kind of get us into the spirit of the whole thing also. So
Sanket Matre
You
joined.
want read one first?
Sorry?
Sanket said that he has some power issues in his area. Probably he won't be joining, unfortunately. I will be delivering the welcome speech on behalf of Writers Capital anyway. So whenever everybody's here, please notify me so that I can start with my welcome speech.
Okay.
And also the vote of thanks will be delivered by Johanna Devadayavus. She's here, I see, in among us. So we are going to go like this. Okay, the whole event in between is on you, of course. Hello, Sister Joanna. So nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Hello, Irene. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Wonderful.
We'll be reading one poem first and then on the second round another poem. Is that how
Yeah,
we'll
sure.
do it?
Yeah, that would be better. Shamaita, if you have more than one, that's okay. You can probably read two now and then three in the second round as it may be.
Maybe I'll read just 4 poems. So 2 now, then later on 2.
Yeah, sure.
I
That's
will also
also
do the
fine.
same thing. 2 poems in first round and one poem in last round.
Okay, fine. No problem. Ma'am, आपका जो है, do you also have translation or how is it?
What, mine?
Yes, yours.
I was thinking of reading in Marathi little bit. I don't know if anyone understands here, but maybe in audience somebody will be there who will be understanding Marathi. So
I understand very little, but okay.
Okay, very little.
Understand.
Okay, I understand. And then I will read English translation.
Okay. So that would be nice. Whatever is there in translation, please read the original and the translation.
Okay.
That will, and then maybe you can, talk to us about how anything was
Right.
lost in translation.
Yeah.
That would be good. There'll be an experience all of us share. So.
True.
Hello, Sushma ji. We haven't
spoken
met
to each other. Yeah.
Yeah. Hi.
It's the first time I'll be reading some of my poems. You all seem to be established poets, so you'll have to bear with me on novice.
Hello, Sushma. We would love to hear your poems.
Oh dear, love to see you online.
I see you all on Facebook. I see your beautiful poems and videos in Writers Capital Mail. And now I have the pleasure of seeing your faces as well. It's wonderful. So good.
You met on Facebook before. Unfortunately, I am not there on Facebook.
Okay, ma'am. You're from Mumbai? Anybody from Mumbai?
I'm from Mumbai.
Yes, I'm from Mumbai.
Okay. Gayatri, you are also from Mumbai. From where?
Yes, very much so.
Okay.
So now we are waiting on Aparna Ajit, right?
Yeah, Aparna should be joining.
Have we got any news of the poets that have not entered yet?
I'm just posting a message on the group asking for Aparna. Yes, that was me.
But Aparna.
So they're trying to contact her.
Okay.
So we don't have to be very formal. Let's just have a conversation the best that we can. Okay. Yeah. So possibly let Aparna join when she can. We'll just get on with it. Yes.
Do you think we should start? Is she the only one that has not entered yet?
We can start, I think. And
all right.
She can
all
join.
Right. This is good. This is good. Yes. Wonderful. And, okay. So it is a real pleasure to welcome you to Panorama International Literature Festival 2022, conducted by Writers Capital International Foundation worldwide. I'm Secretary General and PILF Chief Coordinator Arindura Kavadia, extending you a warm embrace from Athens, Greece. Welcome to our live session, which is actually a celebration of literature and of life. Because we in Writers Capital bridge cultures and unite nations. Therefore, we have joined all together in the realm where life meets literature, in which you all are the bearers of light. Panorama International Literature Festival, which is dedicated to spreading the mighty values of humanity through the medium of literature, is extended primarily to help cultural exchange and to enable writers to expand their horizons of understanding of the world. Let me now briefly introduce Panorama International Literature Festival. It is one of the two signature programs of Writers Capital Foundation, along with Panorama Art Festival, in which hundreds of writers from across the world get together, marking the beginning of yet another season of celebration of literature. We have extended our invitation to all continents of the globe, and we received a remarkable production of noteworthy literary works, which we are immensely proud of. This has, of course, not gone unnoticed. That is why we have received global acknowledgement as world's #1 lengthiest literature festival with extensive media coverage in many countries across the planet. Panorama, which is dedicated to spreading the mighty values of humanity through the medium of literature, is intended primarily to help cultural exchange. Due to the pandemic, PILF 2022 is conducted in most countries virtually. However, it is designed in a way it ensures greater impact of it among the participants. Besides, this year, it is a multilingual event comprising also live meetings, embracing all possible native language, bringing cultures even closer together. PILF is thematic, where the topics are carefully chosen in order to prepare a writer for meaningful works in their profession. The theme for this year is Shunya, the celestial void. With a specific thematic, PILF is reviving the long-forgotten genre of metaphysical literature. The void has been a favorite topic for poets of the bygone, and there are a number of classical works inspired by the same sense of void that the writer experienced in some phases in their lives. Poets have therefore been challenged to investigate the depths and unravel the mystery of creation itself, sharing their ideas and conclusions in the form of a poem or a speech that conveys their personal approach to this all-time mystery of the beginning of life. We are immensely happy and proud that our highly set objective has been met with great success, as poets and writers across the world meditated upon the theme, composing a work for eternity. Let us now all indulge in your inspiring verses on the theme Shunya. Therefore, I give the dais to the curator of the session, Sonia J. Nair, to conduct the program. Sonia Nair is the editor of samiyuktapoetry.com, hope I'm saying it right, and the director of Ananta, an international online festival of poetry. She is a poet and reviewer and has been published in poetry at Sangam, the Shimmer Spring Anthology, the Kitchen Sink Magazine, Borderless Journal, Rewriting Human Imagination, an anthology published by IASC and the Center for Digital Humanities, and the Borderless Journal. She is the head of the Department of English, All Saints College, Tiruvananthapuram. Congratulations, the dais to you, Sonia Nair.
Thank you very much. That was a phenomenal introduction to the festival. And thank you for those kind words about me. And welcome, everybody. So without much ado, I'm glad to see that Aparna has also joined us. We will launch into the session. And as we were discussing before, what we are going to do is we'll have 2 rounds. And every time you finish reading your poems, we would like to have the views of the fellow poets. And we'd also like to know a little bit about the genesis and the process of evolution of that particular piece of creative writing that you have done. And may I request all the participants to mute their mics when they are not speaking. Yeah. And so, yes, it's with great pleasure that I would like to invite Neeraja, who is a phenomenal poetess, a short story writer, and a columnist. And she has published 6 poetry collections, 4 collections of short stories, and there are 4 books that are compilations of her columns. And she has edited 3 collections of poetry, and her first novel will be published this year. I don't know whether you find time to sleep or go to the park or something, but this is terrific, okay? She received about 26 awards, including awards from the state government. She's got the Master Deenanath Mangeshkar Vagvilasini Award, the Maharashtra Foundation Award, and so on. And many of her books are included in the curricula of the universities of Maharashtra. And there are students who have done their MPhil and PhDs on her books. So we are in the company of a poet a short story writer and a columnist who has been discussed by academia and the creative writing world in equal measure. So very happy to have you here. Mike, your mic.
Good evening, everyone. Let me thank first Writers Capital Foundation for inviting me in Panorama International Literature Festival 2022. I'm glad to be here with all you young Indian poetess. I'm presenting 2 poems in the beginning, and I will read a few lines in Marathi and then I will read their translation. My first poem is Khairlanji to Kopardi. Khairlanji and Kopardi, these are the names of the villages of Maharashtra where rape cases have taken place. In Khairlanji, the victim was Dalit girl, and in Kopardi, the victim was Maratha girl. In both the cases, the two caste groups were furious and protested with large morchas, asking for the justice for the victim. It is but natural. We should be ashamed of, sometimes I feel, that of our so-called glorious culture which pretends to respect women, but in reality, they are considered as commodity which can be used and thrown. In Kopardi case, Maratha community had many demonstrations which ended in the demand of reservations in education and jobs. This poem has that background, but applicable to all such rape cases all over the world. As I told you, I will just read little bit of Marathi, so to have the essence, that flavor of the language, and then I will read the translation. Khairlanji te Kopardi. Khairlanji te Kopardi व्हाया दिल्ली, मुंबई आणि गाव शहरातला कोणताही सुनसान प्रदेश. फक्त नावं बदलता आहेत जागांची. फक्त नावं बदलता आहेत जागांची. माझ्या ओल जपलेल्या योनीत सरकवले जात आहेत सत्तेचे झेंडे आणि त्याच्याच मेणबत्त्या करून काढले जात आहेत मोर्चे. क्रौर्याचे दाखले देत वाजवता आहेत तबकडी बातमीची. It is little bit longer, but I'll read now translation here. Khairlanji to Kopardi. In this poem, I have used the word yoni for vagina. That even in translation, it has been used. From Khairlanji to Kopardi, via Delhi, Mumbai, and any other desolate place in a town or village, only the names of places keep changing. Only the names of places keep changing. Flags of power are thrust into my moist, protected yoni. Flags of power are thrust into my moist, protected yoni, and making candle of these, morchas are taken out. Discs of news are played, blaring out proofs of cruelty. Which is woman's caste and what is her religion? Which is woman's caste and what is her religion? Does her caste make a difference to her suffering? What is it that gives these torturers of bodies pleasure? The enjoyment of a woman or the enjoyment of her caste? Woman has been denuded for all time in your struggle for power. Woman has been denuded for all time in your struggle for power. You have pushed your political ambitions into her body, fought battles and defeated your enemies by playing the game between her thighs. Those men who assess the soil by its color, those men who assess the soil by its color, the earth has endured their plow for ages. A Mangal Sutra strung round the neck, bearing witness. But this has never become a news. You collect large crowds to reproach those who shredded my yoni. Can you see anywhere in that crowd the agony tearing my inside apart? Can you see anywhere in that crowd the agony tearing my inside apart? Can you hear the scream bursting out my tiny womb? Can you understand the throbbing insult that lacerates my mind? In what quota will you demand reservation for girls with mangled yonis? In what quota you will demand reservation for girls with mangled yonis in the corner of the kitchen or at the bottom of a deep well at the back door? The places of death will constantly change. Village and city will come together in this global village, and a primal product called woman will be seen in the culture of use and discard, providing daily news of disheveled hair, of terrified eyes, of hands on her yoni trying to stop its destruction. This is the first poem. Then the second one is God is lost. We know in the name of the religion and different gods, we have so many riots and violence and all. It has become way of our life nowadays, due to which we are losing goodness and compassion. This poem is talking about that. The name of the poem is God is lost. देव हरवलेत आणि त्यांना शोधायला बाहेर पडलेली माणसंही. देव हरवलेत म्हणजे काय झालंय नेमकं? God is lost. God is lost and also the people went in search of him. God is lost and also the people went in search of him. What has happened exactly? Is he locked inside the cell of a demon? Is he locked inside the cell of a demon like a beautiful princess? And these people crossing a jungle after jungle had reached that region of the demon. Whether this demon has transformed them into parrots, dogs, or wild animals. If people gone in the search of God and worn down one by one, who will release him? If people gone in search of God are worn down one by one, who will release him? You lost your God and we, our people. You lost your God and we, our people. Now where to go and whom to search? We have to decide whether to live without our people or without him. We have to decide, we have to live without our people or without him. If you don't want to lose yourself forever from your own being, you should start living without one of them. Thank you.
Those were some marvelous verses, Neerajaji. Would anybody like to say anything, or shall I go first? How should it be? Okay, so I would like to tell you that when you began reading, and then that was kind of confirmed for me by the second poem that you read. With you, it's about the transformation of images that stands out beautifully. You know how this whole idea of a visceral act like rape and the act of penetration, which is so forced, you just transform that cruelty into candles. To depict the way that people make an opportunity out of such trauma and such violence in order to talk about things that are not really related to the incident at all. So in terms of that, and the way that you transformed the body of the woman, and the simultaneity of the violence upon the woman and the violence upon earth. And the way that places like kitchen and the deep well, etc., which are perfectly normal places under certain circumstances, you made them, you transformed them into places of great menace and tragedy. And the way that news and everything, reservations, all of these things are transformed out of an act of violence and cruelty. So that's what I found outstanding, the ways that, in which your images are capable of those transformations. The temple becoming a cell, the people becoming parrots, and that essential philosophy that, we have to either live with one or with the other. So I found that extremely, refreshing, actually, the way that no wonder people are doing their thesis on. Yeah. Yeah, I would like to ask the participants what they think. Anybody?
I would like to congratulate the poetess for this wonderful poem with such vivid imagery, actually telling us that really there is no difference if there is a difference in caste or religion or color or nation. A woman is a woman and has to be respected. Me as an activist, I understand this very much and really wish to congratulate you for all the wonderful things you have said. May people be inspired and actually reprimand all those acts of violence, condemn them, not just push them away and silence upon the issue, because silencing means we are kind of accomplices to the whole thing, and we have to speak out. The same thing happens with every violation of human rights, and we have to come forward and claim justice. So this is my congratulations on this wonderful poem, and also about the God that you mentioned. We should be united as people, regardless of any religion, regardless of any God we believe in. This is nothing to tear us apart. We have to be united, and that's it. Wonderful.
Excellent. So, yes?
Ma'am, I just wanted to say one thing to Neeraja ma'am. Her first poem especially was very powerful. One line which I liked the most: under what reservation will you give to mangled yonis? That was a really powerful statement, ma'am. Congrats. Very powerful.
I like to say, Neeraja ma'am, both the poems are very, the first poem, of course, is very hard hitting. And when you say that, the city and the village come together, it's this simple words, but suddenly there's a fear. You suddenly start realizing when you say, use common words like, kitchen door, or you're saying they're evocative, you literally can see the images. And it's very hard hitting. It's also when you mention deep well, so beautifully written. And the second poem, I loved it when you started off in Marathi, because you can only get the essence when you're saying it in Marathi. Of course, you explain it in English, but the first line in Marathi, and you got me with the first line. So that was lovely. Very nice.
Okay. So we'll come back to you now in the next round. And now our next poetess is Shamaida Sen, who is a Delhi-based poet, an academic, and she's also currently pursuing her PhD. I don't think it's on you, but on something else altogether. So she is the author of The Hope of Spring, hybrid poems, and also the editor of Collegiality and Other Ballads, which was a set of feminist poets by male and non-binary allies, a book that was in the news for all the right reasons. And her poems have been anthologized in various forums such as One Sentence Poems, Muse India, Usawa Literary Review, Setu, Women Empowerment, then Lapis Lazuli, Residence Poetish, and a number of works like that, and Hibiscus and Witness and so on. And as far as her academic interests are concerned, it's in post-colonial studies, political literature, and theories of gender, violence, and trauma. So imagine how much of material Neeraja has currently given Shamaida to work on. Okay, so with those words, I would like to welcome Shamaida.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much, Writers Capital Foundation and Panorama Lit Fest for this opportunity. I will be reading a few of my poems from the debut collection. They are all in sync with the theme of the festival, the Celestial Void. So I'll be reading two poems right now. The first one I have titled Nainital. It was written after my father's passing. It has three parts. I'll begin. I have visited Nainital with my parents half a decade ago. Now, when I'm here again alone, it doesn't feel the same. Baba is not there anymore. Not here in Nainital while I feed the fish in the tal, not over the phone calling up anxiously all night, concerned about my well being while I travel away from the lap of Delhi into light and fog. After I performed his last rites, my face away from seeing further. We have electric chulas these days, grilling, churning flesh into ash. Science has done a lot. You don't hear the bones of your loved ones crackling while they are on their last journey. My cousin turned my face away, but the little I saw, I thought Baba moved into light. Nainital has taught me no matter how well you philosophize on and memorialize pain, you're living it through every time alone. Nainital has taught me Baba lives on in every bit of all my life experiences. Nainital was the last hill station I had been to with him, and I wonder if my annual craving for the hills would suffice my daily longing for him. I move on to the next poem. It is titled Photo, Black and White. It is about the cycle of life and death, and you'll see how the last two paragraphs does it actually. I begin. Pain, wriggling on the wall, hanging like a photo frame, whitewashed to a slate clean of memories. A hand frantically searching a pair of glasses in the dark for a scrunched up face tucked in an elbow awaiting the sun. Desires entangled in tubes, bloodied in war, crawl back into my womb, waiting to be cut open, seeking rebirth, only to become another bespectacled poser for the black and white photo on a whitewashed wall. Thank you. These are the two poems for now.
They are marvelous, Shamaida. They are born out of grief and pain, and that makes them sharper and very, very potent. I mean, that last poem in itself, the idea of pain that never really goes away but just keeps reincarnating. I found that to be very true. Actually, people tell us that pain goes away with time; it heals, but I'm not very sure that's actually true. And you just confirmed it for me. And the Nainital poem, there was I don't know. It was a very relatable poem. I mean, in terms of the way that grief has been dissected, and the way that it's very scientific and clinical. That act of passing somebody through the electric crematorium, and people seem to imagine that that kind of takes away the bite of death, but I don't think it does. So yeah, this particular poem, I would say, could have possibly been some sort of a therapy for you. I mean, when you write it down and you have narrated it and you come back to it. So
poetry has been therapeutic mostly.
Seriously, it's visible. It's very visible in what you have just read out, and the cadences and the textures of the words. So all respect to you. Now, other participants, if you may please, if you have anything to add to this.
Shamaida, really nice poem, especially that we don't hear the bone crackling. That line, no, means I had goosebumps here. And I can understand the grief when you are very much connected to your father, and the way you have expressed it, no, very as if you are as a third person you are looking at it, like that you have expressed it, but then everything came out of that, what are your feelings and all. Very wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
I thought the poems were, when you're talking about grief and death and all of that, you have said it in a very subtle manner. There's so much in your heart, but you said it all in such a subtle way. And you have, you've expressed exactly, what you're feeling, but it's said in a very subtle way. Of course, that's what poetry does, So it's beautiful. I love Nainital. And of course, the second one as well. Lovely.
Thank you.
Okay.
It is wonderful. We always say that we poets are also blessed because we can write down something that haunts us so that we get relieved out of this therapeutic writing, actually trying to exorcise fears and pains. It was a wonderful attempt to do exactly that. We all related to this. We all have lost people that we love around us. It's intricate. It is interwoven in life of everybody to feel the joy and the pain as well. So yes, it is actually relief when writing it down. Hopefully it will always be relief when you reread this. Thank you for sharing it with everybody. Wonderful. Congratulations.
Yes, absolutely. That was a very precious memory, and for you to have come out and spoken about it and read it out, that's wonderful. Thank you. And now we will move on to Dr. Aparna Ajit. Aparna, if you could unmute yourself, and are you there?
Hello, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. You are, Aparna. Okay. Yeah. Do you mind switching your video on, or is that a problem?
No. I will keep it. I'll keep it.
Yeah, sure.
Ma'am?
Yes, you're visible. Thank you.
Okay.
So we have yet another academician and creative writer. That's Dr. Aparna Ajit, and she's obtained her PhD from the Central University in Rajasthan, and her subject was in English. And she specializes in comparative literature and translation studies. And she also has a diploma in communication and journalism from the Trivandrum Press Club. So she's an academician, a poet, and a journalist if the need comes to it, I suppose. Her maiden anthology of poems was called Musings of Venus, which was published in 2021. And she's also a winner of one of the research grants of Kerala State Chalachitra Academy. So congratulations on that. And she has a little baby who seems to occupy much of her time and also enriches her poetry couvre. So Aparna, over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Warm good evening to one and all gathered here. Thank you for making me a part of this event. I'm honored and humbled to be a part of this. And I will be reciting two of my poems, and they are very short, and at the same time, they are in a way personally related to me. So the first one is titled Butterflies Flutter. And as you said that my maiden anthology of poetry titled My Musings of Venus was published in 2021. And most of the poems were written while I was pregnant. And moreover, it was a time of lockdown, and I really don't know how those days were going. And I was not able to see my parents, and I was staying with my husband. And after almost 5 months I was with him, and towards the 6th month I have come to stay with my parents, and many thoughts were going to my mind, and I really don't know what to do. So I was thinking of why to write these things in my mind, or what things are there in my mind. I thought of giving it a poetic expression. And moreover, while I was going through or facing that euphoria of creation within me, I even felt that will I be able to recreate these feelings. So I thought that if I'm able to pen these feelings, I will be able to relive this feeling some way in my life. So I thought of creating some moments. So the first time when I felt the flutter that something is moving in my tummy, maybe during the third or fourth month. So this is the feeling exactly I have written during that time. So here is the poem, Butterflies Flutter. I felt a new life sprouting within me, filling my fading dawns like a honeybee. I can quite surmise a nascent surprise. Your twitching keeps me alive, yearning for my little love to arrive. I feel your muted love in the flapping, craving for your entity in a snowy wrapping. I linger in your butterfly tickers, your zigzag still my tickers. When I feel a gulu gulu in my belly, it's my gulu gulu moving around like a jelly. You nestle in my heart's rhythm. My epiphany for you has no algorithm. My winter craves for your love spring. My endless heart rhymes are set to sing. My feelings ratify their connections with you, annexing my sweet and soul cadences within you, counting down days for my fluttering butterfly to stretch the tender wings and soar high. So all these feelings and these were written then, and now my baby is like 1 year old. So when he means after that feeling of that separation, sometimes when I feel that feeling of separation and that umbilical cord and the kind of that rare emotional connect I shared with the baby, although now he has become a separate entity, still I sometimes I really feel that the gulu gulu feeling and how that golu molu kind of baby was moving inside me. So in a way, at times I feel that I am able to recreate those faces, at least sometimes in my poetic scribbling. So here is my next poem, An Ode to Nurses. So this is also inspired from the life of the people with whom I really have some close connection, and some of my friends are from this nursing field. So when I interact with these people or when I watch the movies and how we are actually portraying the nurses, so maybe from my own experience, what I can say is that many of my friends who have taken a degree or BSc in nursing, most of them have migrated. So when they migrated, the thing is that actually they don't deserve or they don't get the reputation they deserve in our place. That is one reason. And also maybe they get more money, and thinking of an economic perspective, also many people have migrated. But still, when we think of the nurses, the image that comes is they are like mixing and mingling with all the people. They are sexually promiscuous, like that. So many kinds of images we have in our mind. But still, when you think of a nurse, and so I even remember when my baby was first taken to me by a nurse, I even feel that before I have even felt the warmth and tender of the baby, he was first taken care of by a nurse. So I feel that sometimes we even fail to acknowledge the worth, or we are not giving enough. This is my personal view. We are not giving enough attention to them. Maybe we place the doctors in a higher pedestal. We are not giving that much recognition for the nurses, and they deserve that. This is what I feel. So here is my poem. Actually, this is like an ode to nurses. They are familiar to us right from our birth. Still, we don't acknowledge their worth. We call them affectionately as nurses, though we denigrate them with our curses. Huge debts hanging over their heads, they strive for their daily breads. We grade them impure and unreputed, promiscuous, profane, and polluted. They are the angels in distress who suffer from burnout and stress. They are the slaves in white attire, always an object for others to can't spare. Nobody hears them battering their hearts. Nobody is bothered of their hectic hospital charts. They move on like a mad scramble, worried of their liabilities in ample. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Aparna. Those are very, let's say, elaborate descriptions that accompanied your poems, and particularly Butterflies Flutter might have struck a chord with a lot of people. Also, the refreshing idea of the gulu gulu kind of the use of the word like that was quite nice, and of course it had the complete let's say the communication of lightness, and the whole poem was full of the joy that a woman feels with the connect that she has with the child in her womb. Then as far as the ode to nurses are concerned, I suppose you know at least in Kerala, with the previous outbreak of the pandemic and a number of other incidents where nurses were at the forefront, nurses who sacrificed their lives for the sake of the patients. Remember the nurse who had two young children and a husband at home, and she decided to just be there in the hospital, and then herself fell a victim to the disease and passed away. So so I suppose that this whole perception of nurses being a bit wonky is, I think, changed a lot in the last at least decade, if not more. So anyway, but we really applaud the enthusiasm with which these verses had been conveyed. Now I open the poems for discussion, if anybody would like to contribute.
I would like to say congratulations to Dr. Aparna and for the wonderful book, The Musings of Venus, which I have seen and read. Congratulations, it is wonderful. And such tender poems, especially the one with butterflies, wings and everything that we all women who have had children felt. And you really remind us of what it is like. This is this precious emotion that will never go away from our minds and our hearts, no matter how many years will pass. Congratulations. And also very nice of you to have raised the subject of the nurses and all those people in the medical field that especially nowadays are facing very difficult times trying to save other people's lives. And yes, we have all been delivered into the hands of a nurse when we were born. And this is something that it has to be a tribute to them. Congratulations, dear Dr. Aparna.
Thank you, ma'am.
So we will now listen to Dr. Sushma Nair. And interestingly, she works in the meteorological center in Mumbai. So she has something to do with the kind of weather forecasting that Mumbai has been listening to. You're responsible for the rain and the sunshine. And she enjoys her moments of solitude among the maddening crowd of her city, and she manages to keep her private space very well guarded. I don't know how you do that, but that should explain the dexterity of your poems. And she is very particular about nature. She loves nature, and she has put her best and worst moments into the safe space that poetry is. And her debut book is called Echoes of Ache. It was published by Indus Scrolls Press. And she's also won the Panorama International Literature Awards in the year 2020. So welcome, Dr. Sushma, and we look forward to listening to you.
Thank you, ma'am, for that wonderful introduction. I hope I'm audible. Am I audible? Okay. Thank you, Writers Capital, for giving me this opportunity. I'm honored, I'm privileged, and this is a privilege I will cherish for a very long time. Now, coming to my poems, they are just personal reflections on my journey through life. When Preet told me about the theme Shunya, many things crossed my mind. Shunya, initially, I just reflected on my journey through life. I have been through many phases of sorrow. I am today wonderful, but somebody was responsible for this. There was some time when Shunya meant nothingness to me. It meant emptiness. It was very depressing. The word Shunya was depressing. I was searching for illumination all around till I met somebody wonderful who told me I can illuminate the world all around me. So today my life is different. Today for me, Shunya is profound, endearing, and empowering. So this space, this time, I dedicate to that wonderful person who took me through this journey. He's my spiritual guru. This is an offering of gratitude to him. So my first poem is titled, Your Overpowering Presence. One fine day, destiny softly but firmly knocked on my door and led me through an untrodden lane onto your floor. One glance, you accepted me unhesitantly into your fold. I was a hapless bird in search of nothing. Of you, I slowly grew fond. Bit by bit, I gathered courage to live through life's confusion. Illuminated by your light, many sorrows just seemed an illusion. Buried desires resurfaced. My wings got ready to take flight. As I flapped my wings, time cast a gloom that impaired my flight. That evening, as I bid you adieu, I was paralyzed with fear. Uncertainty rode as I watched your departing cottage with tears. An insane pain seared through. I was a flightless bird again with this stroke. In silent agony, the strings of expectation and confidence I broke. Slowly, you crept into my moonless nights to sing a lullaby of promise and hope. You awakened me to a beautiful morning of renewed vigor and scope. You joined hands with all the forces of nature around to echo in unison. There is no separation. Don't wither and wallow in this delusion. My wings dared to flap again to orchestrate strains of a new symphony. I will not be denied anything in life. You made faith and belief sing in harmony. Thank you, ma'am.
That's wonderful, Sushma. I was just looking at, listening to your poem, and I realized that this is a poem for these very dark times when a lot of people seem to think that
Lose
maybe
hope.
this is the end of the road. Sorry?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, many
Yeah.
people lose hope.
Yeah, exactly, they do. And the confessional tone that it had was very intimate. It kind of revealed a lot about the poet, and at the same time it can strike a chord in the minds of people who are going through similar experience, and there are a lot of such people actually. And the resilience, that is there. I found the light, there was hope, and I thought it should go on, kind of a thing. I think that itself is a very important message for these times. So the basic structure that your poem has, I think, is very impressive. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
And not only that, in that void that we think is a void, sometimes there are these echoes that come back, and this is one such echo. So, if there's anybody else who would like to offer their comments,
it's a very candid poem, and you've it's very transparent. You've literally poured down your heart. And of course, it's a beautiful dedication, and there's always grace when you're dedicating your poem to someone. And you get that feeling of there is light at the end of the tunnel. And we really need to have that, believe in that philosophy. So there's a lot of positivity in your poem, and I like that.
Thanks a lot, ma'am.
absolutely.
Congratulations. Highly inspirational, Sushma. Wonderful
Thank
poem. Indeed, the void can be the beginning of Genesis, as it is said, and it has been written down by philosophers of the bygone too. The thing is, also being Greek, we had a master philosopher called Socrates. Of course, you know him. And he used to say that there is actually a kind of balance. There is a sense of when somebody is sad, and it's like a scales, and sadness goes down, then somehow it pulls up happiness for you to rejoice at some point. So this is actually what really happened to you as well, as it happens to all of us. Everything changes. That is, of course, by Heraclitus, another wonderful philosopher of all time, who said that nothing stays the same and we have to just be patient and do our best. So for bad situations to be overcome. Of course, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. And thank you for those inspirational verses. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot, Irene.
Absolutely. And now we will move on to Gayatri Nakhyani Chawla, poet, translator, and teacher, also from Mumbai. So all the weather predictions that she makes are applicable to you and Neeraj. Okay, so she is an award-winning poet, translator, and French teacher from Mumbai. She has two collections of poetry to her name, The Invisible Eye and The Empress. And she's won the Panorama Special Jury Award at the Panorama International Literary Awards in 2020. She's won the Rahi Kadam Inspiration Award in 2021. And if I am right, you're also interested in Sufi poetry, Sindhi poetry? Yes?
Yes, I have translated the upcoming book.
Yes.
Hopefully, fingers crossed this year. So that will be some Sindhi translation from Sindhi to English. It's a co-translation, so the book will be out soon.
And she has been a friend and a fellow participant at Ananta, the poetry festival that I organized. So it's wonderful to connect with you again, Gayatri. And over to you.
It's a complete joy today to be here for the Panorama International Literary Festival 2022. And I have to thank Preeti and Writers Capital Foundation for organizing a literature festival, especially during the pandemic times. And of course, for inviting me as well. It's lovely to meet, it's lovely to see and meet and connect with so many fellow poets and familiar friends. So we begin with the theme. So the theme this year is Shunya. Shunya is the celestial void. And if you literally translate it, it means an emptiness. But if you closely look into it and at a higher level, it would mean a consciousness, like a state of doing nothing, which is also something. And I think for me, I feel the celestial void is symbolically, it's the black hole, something that everyone goes back to and comes back from. And I'm going to be reading a poem of mine, which is called Interpretation, and that resonates with theme. Interpretation. How do you interpret small miracles in the universe? The palash, all in bloom, looking ruby red like a devi from a distance. A baby's cry so shriek, capable of waking the dead in the dense forest. The cantaloupe opening like a vagina, with countless sunshine seeds of hope. The burning of a pink candle on new moon, luring new love, flowing the fluffy nucleus of a dandelion upon a wish, a mother rocking her adopted child, teary with the astounding news of an angel in her womb. What is the source of all this? Asked the seeker. The child, who is only 18 moons old, stands up from the tribe sitting in a circle. I think the sun is the reason of our being, the metaphysical prologue to life. Silence prevails as truth cascades from the mouth of a child. And what is epilogue? Asked the curious seeker. Again, the sun that sets every day. The beginning of the end of the beginning. The faber child proclaims. His eyes are closed, semi-ennobled. He looks like a messiah. Thank you. Should I?
Yeah, you want to read one more and then we talk about it?
Yes, sure. This is a poem which I wrote again during the pandemic, of course, but it's during that time that I wrote it, but it's not about the virus or any of that. So this is called In Lieu of. Cut me your right thumb, Eklavya, I'm sorry, let me just start again. In lieu of. Cut me your right thumb, Eklavya, said the intelligent guru, Dronacharya. He was quick to forecast what lay ahead for Prince Arjuna. The art of archery was rare and fit for the noble. Could a simple hunter's son learn this skill? How to raise the longbow and pull the arrow shooting at the desired aim? Like a lover's first kiss, uncertain, wet, eager for more. A rainfall of dew on the petals of saffron hibiscus flower that adorns the feet of the elephant god. A dozen arrows holding up the mouth of a barking dog. For days, the simple task of prayer before his guru's statue, made of dust and devotion, camouflages his mind with trust. The mind is human, it can be fooled. Placebo effect is a walk in the rain on a bright sunny day. The archer is blind to things around his arena, deaf to the noises in his head, seeking only the eye of the fish. Focus on the lips, my dear, says a stubborn mind. He's determined to master the art of kissing. Maybe if he hadn't idealized her, she would have stayed longer. How does one find someone who does not want to be found? Mourn your emptiness, your mind purple, angst, hungry with anticipation, as she walks away with your bleeding heart in her fist. Thank you.
That's extremely interesting, Gayatri. The first one is so philosophical. I was very happy about the fact that, you were talking about the sunrise and the sunset, and not about it being in the east or in the west. Your poem was about, I suppose, a cyclical turn of the everyday, and, how sometimes the simplest truths provide the greatest of solace. And sometimes it can come from, not those self-proclaimed wise people, but somebody as young as an 18-year-old individual, and who's not to say that the young are not wise. So, and why I said that, I was very happy you said the sun rose and the sun rises and the sun sets, is because when you say it does so in the east or in the west, you have attached a certain condition to it. What if the east is not meant to be the east? What if the west was just randomly called the west? What if there's no such thing as the north and the south? So, there are some things that you just can't deny, that the sun is there and suddenly the sun is not there. So, in these times of the post-truth and the belief that the longer you say a lie, in a matter of time, it becomes the truth. This is a very, very, I would say, astringent touch, to this entire idea of what we understand and what we are so sure of. So it's a very, very spiritual kind of a take that you have done, the seeker and the student. Thank you for that. And the second one I found, quite powerful in terms of this whole idea of looking to your myths to discover certain fundamental truths about oneself. And the way that, you have drawn that connection between Archer and the lover and, across that whole thing about should I have done something differently? So I thought that's very interesting, that going back, that revisiting that people have been doing. So, and of course, the Mahabharata is such an archetype. It's such an archetype that there are innumerable interpretations that are possible. You've hit on a very potent one. I don't think I have read such an interpretation. So that's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you for your kind words. You've comprehended it so well. Thank you so much, Sonia.
Very nice. I like it. She said that the first one was philosophical, but the way you presented it and the imagery which you are using, wonderful. Even the myths and all, the way you played with that. Thank you.
Congratulations on my part as well. I think you have combined harmoniously in your poems history, mythology, metaphysics, and science in such a wonderful combination, but so vividly presented that everyone can understand and get into this profound verses of yours. Congratulations. Congratulations. And also one more thing, which is very important, is that you mentioned indirectly, of course, that whatever we live and we believe in is always related to a point of view or a point in time or space. So this relativity is actually what is important, as it also has been mentioned. Wonderfully said, wonderfully penned. Congratulations.
That's great. And now we have finished one round and we come to the last round of listening to all of you wonderful people. We will again start with Neeraja, please. Mic is muted.
Small poem I'll read because I know we are getting late, but okay. The name of the poem, again, I don't think, I feel that whatever maybe about women I'm writing or whatever are my philosophies of life and all, void is everywhere, I feel, even in our life also, the life of the women all over the world. That is a permanent void we are having, I always feel. Okay, one name of the poem is Nakabandi, all of you must be knowing. Okay, so 2-3 lines in Marathi. मी कशासाठी पाहते आहे वाट, तो येईल अबलक घोड्यावरून. मी कशासाठी पाहते आहे वाट, तो येईल अबलक घोड्यावरून आणि घेऊन जाईल मला त्याच्या कुठल्याशा स्वप्ननगरीत. खरं तर मला पळवायचे आहेत लगाम त्याच्या हातातले आणि काढून टाकायचा आहे गर्भाशयाच्या वाटेवरचा अहोरात्र पहारा. In English now, Nakabandi. What I am waiting for? What I am waiting for him to ride in on a white horse and carry me off into some dream world of his own. Actually, I want to raise the reins from him and take them in my hands, and also wish to take away his constant guard at the door of my womb's path. If I block all the ways coming to me forever, if I block all the ways coming to me forever, what would he do? What would he do? Write a poem about clothes, plumage. Write a poem about clothes, plumage, or shout a slogan of total destruction. Whatever. Whatever, but now time has come to fortify every path of dreams that leads to my body, that leads to my body. Thank you. Thank you all. I thank Preet and Sonia and everyone, all of you who are here, for giving me this opportunity to participate in this poetry recitation. Thank you all.
Thank you, Neeraja. I'm very, very glad that I made your acquaintance, because that is a terrific poem. You know, it deals so beautifully, so frankly with the kind of blocks that, you know, people place on themselves, making themselves inaccessible for God knows what reason. And then, you know, the counter thought that comes through in the poem. What will they do if I start doing this? Are they going to, you know, create a protest or kick up a tantrum, make a fuss, kind of a thing? That is, you know, it kind of shows the inherent strength of women, where they can be accommodating at one point, and at the same time, you know, when they start walling up, there's a sense of permanence when those doors are closed. So that level of thought, the thought and the counter thought, that is very beautiful, you know, and a very powerful voice, actually. The sort of voice that people should be hearing these days, rather than just giving up and becoming all weepy and waily. This is great. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else would like to join in? So in that case, Shamaida, are you there? Yes, she's right there. Let's have you.
Hello again. So this poem is titled Touches Memory. It is written from personal experiences. This could make one realize what it feels to be writing from the margins, all the while feeling powerless. So here I begin. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night, staggering like an old woman with dementia, tripping over bits of memories. His calloused hands protruding like wings, coiled snake-like on the seams of my slipover, curtailing my movement. Touch is memory, but this touch is a metaphor for my silence. I shudder to think I am to respond to my father's doctor groping me in his cabin as a price for Baba's well-being. Now I wake up to my midriff, stiffening with acute pain, the memory of the touch writhing my gut. I have carried this long enough, in nightmares and body aches, in ointments and prayers, silently moaning like the colorless liquid dripping into Baba's veins. He passed a year later, a relative told me, afflicted by the same disease that infested my father's precious lungs. But there is no relief. In my mind, that evening still hangs moist, like air heavy on my shoulders, my chest turning stone under cold stream. Am I audible and visible?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah,
Please
I'll
go
move
ahead.
on to the next poem. This is about the recurring dream images and the people's faces that we see in dreams. The poem is titled You in My Dreams. I begin. In my dream, you embrace me from behind, like all lovers do. We are so close that your hand on my bosom is mine, shielding my chest from an unknown sea of people. I turn to look at your face, pale against the background of bed sheets, closely resembling the one I have admired since birth. In my sleep, I often meet this face, wearing a motley of bodies, shedding each, like snakeskin, every dream. Thank you.
Well, those are, I don't want to use the word beautiful, Shamaita, because that would not do justice. That would be a very facile word. So, the trauma that you have written about, and the fact that, one carries the memories of such assault over years, and the fact that, the death of the assaulter does not bring any relief. Though many people would say it is karma, for the victim it doesn't hold any meaning. So to be able to express that, to bring it out and to put it into words and put it out there, that is an act of courage, and this kind of speaking out is what should be done, actually speaking, so that people don't start shaming victims. So yeah. And the dream sequence that you were mentioning, I was just thinking about the idea that came to my mind was that of peeling of an onion, a body that houses many faces within it, and the different significations that they have. Like sometimes my friends come to me and they tell me they had a dream about a certain person, and then we start decoding about what that person means to this person in the real life, so as to understand the kind of signification. So it had a lot of Freud in it. It had a lot of
Yes, I was
Lacan
just
and
about to say
Jung.
that.
Yeah,
And since we have read him so closely in literature,
yeah,
we try to analyze the dreams. Yeah, so that happens.
absolutely. So yes, thank you for sharing these very precious points with us.
Very,
Anybody else?
very nicely presented, and that trauma
Thank you,
you brought so subtly, and especially it is very difficult to put it into words, but you have changed it into poem, and it has become a universal experience actually.
thank you,
And
ma'am.
Shamaita, at the beginning of this session, I had said that
Yes,
this
I
is a
was
safe
about to
space.
say with Niraja ma'am writing that poem, and then I come up with this one. Yeah, I know.
Exactly. So yeah, I was saying that this particular session should be seen as a safe space, and you and Neeraja ma'am, everybody has gotten together and actually made it a very safe space. So thank you for that. Yeah, and now we will have Aparna. Aparna.
Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are audible and visible now. Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead. Please.
So here is the poem titled Eternal Quest. In the incessant cacophony of the humdrum existence, she salt persistence, unmindful of the rivulets of days and nights, Her amorphous entity has devoured her delights. Turning and turning in life's widening gyre, she fails to acknowledge what to admire. Buried herself in the barren dreams, apprehending and reprimanding the life's extremes, she kicks off her solitary travel, a journey within herself to unravel her marvel. Indeed, a trip with her sullen luggage, an isolated self and an unwelcome look. Anyone can easily disparage. She yearns for something in intensity, as she's fed up with her banal entity. There she goes in search of her alchemy to an unknown world, making her amygdala ready to be whirled. Cruising into the richest and wild territories of life transfers her persona to overcome any strife. Embracing all the cruel kindness of the world, she moves on in pursuit of an alchemy of her own. Her unwavering aspiration whispers, her irresolute soul whimpers. Life is an eternal quest, an odyssey to the Antaheen at its best. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any more for us? Or is that it? Okay. So I would say that that's a very optimistic word. And it's kind of, in keeping with all the other poems that you have read for us. We feel a very interesting zest for life. And that is there in your voice, even when you're speaking as well. So it's very, pleasant to listen to you, actually. So thank you for that. You instantly brighten up the conversation the minute you enter it. So that's good to know. Thank you, Aparna.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. And from Aparna, we move on to Sushma. How's the weather looking?
Weather is fine, ma'am. It will be a little cold tomorrow in Mumbai. That's all.
Okay. So all those in Mumbai, please keep note.
Yeah, for us, Mumbai ka 14-15 degrees should be cold. That's all. Okay, I'll read my second poem, written along the same lines. It's titled Her Many Faces and His Choice. For many, she was selfless and noble. For some, she was selfish. For a few, she was flawless. Some tried hard to spot a blemish. Their scheming hands held the dispersive prism at angles of their comfort to bend her pure white light to choose from the dispersed hues from the sort. Until she met him, waiting at the bend of a path trodden less to insist. Come with me, he said. I can lead you out of this mess and mist. A heart marinated in pain and rejection sensed vibes of pure love. Do I trail you into these woods? Asked tenderly the gentle dove. He smiled wistfully to say, as you crossed those dry slipping sands and unsafe swamps, unsensed by you, I followed you everywhere with a cast net. You tripped only on the pebbles because I kicked aside the boulders that would have hit you down. I blew the tender breeze that dried the tears of isolation that rolled down your cheeks. He gently held her wrist to whisper, now you can walk beside me sans any fear. Unhesitatingly, she left herself to be led on his chosen paths far and near. They walked miles and miles away from all the fog, mist, and haze she was used to, into lush green woods, slowly and steadily, without much ado, till one day she voiced aloud a thought that had lingered all along. In what light have you colored me? Which face did you choose as you let me to you belong? He smiled benevolently to exclaim, I have held my prism at an angle that does not diffuse your pure white light. Each time you were incident imperfectly, my prism of love I have adjusted to color you in pristine white. In your imperfections, I sought beauty above hate, unlike them who judged your imperfections to intimidate and discriminate. She clutched onto him eagerly, fascinated by his crystal of love, to rise above inhibitions, for now she was sure she had only one face, none from scarlet to violet, but one of his choice, that of pure white. Thank you, ma'am.
The beauty of unconditional love, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that's aspirational for a lot of people. But and
I'm blessed to have received that.
See, that's what I was going to say next. Most people imagine that only God is capable of that. So, you have to pray continuously to God. But there are people on earth who are there and, who are capable of giving you that unconditional love. Just have to be able to find it.
Yes, ma'am. Find it and realize it.
Realize it, exactly. Most people spend a lot of time in regret later on. But yes, I'm glad that, you have found it and it's there. The joy is there on your face. You can see it even through camera. Imagine that. So that's wonderful. And now anybody else would like to add anything?
Sushma ma'am, the lines were so touching and powerful. The way we have to rise beyond our inhibitions, the way you were presenting, and even we can see that feeling in your face by the way you were reciting. And thank you for presenting such a wonderful poem in front of us.
Thank you, Aparna. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
And we now have Gayatri. Gayatri?
I think that I just wanted to say,
yes, yeah, sure, please do. Yeah, go ahead. Yes, you are audible. Now your mic is muted.
I think Gayatri ma'am's screen is frozen.
So I just want to say your...
Yeah, visible now.
Am I audible now, visible?
Yes, you are. I think I'm having some network issues.
So, audible?
Yeah, now you are audible. Yeah.
So this is called Inside the Head of a City, and it starts with a saying by Sylvia Plath: "Is there no way out of the mind?" The laborer without a roof stops brusquely, chewing his tobacco. Looking at the time, his eyes have lost their gleam in them. We see the city's skyline, a canvas of blue sea, across thousands of factory mills and scaffoldings. Where do we go from here? Half a glass of water in the Iranian cafe sits on the red and white checked tablecloth round table. Young lovers eat words at their rendezvous. Time is frozen. Contours are traced. Reflection of each other in their eyes. Is youth an aphrodisiac? Two strands of curly hair with two rose petals, whisked away in a dusty diary. Promise to get you close to me. Death grew like a creeper against the wall, bearing seeds in her. She slowly vegetates into a poison ivy. We don't always get to choose who we are. With the scalpel, the sun cuts open the sky. The Millennium City is sleepwalking. He wishes to hear his mother's voice one last time. Chlorine is a slow poison and less messy. Since when did I start hoarding grief? Thank you.
Beautiful. Gayatri.
It's a dark poem. Yes, it's a dark poem.
I remember some few lines of Wasteland, the evening and then patient. Nice.
So, Yeah, because I think we
Mumbai,
experienced an avalanche of emotions during the pandemic.
I know, and
That's
way
what it was.
depicted Mumbai, a different type of this metropolitan city shown in nice.
And the magnitude of the title, inside the head of a city, when you say that, and then you have to live up to that, and you've done so. Actually, you've given us a panoramic sweep of the city, those things that stand out. The quintessential features of a city have come out there, and like how Nirajama was talking about, in the wasteland, London is depicted. It's called the unreal city. And all of its features, the fog and the mist and all those buildings and the nothingness of the whole thing, it's all come through. And all those people on the bridge in the wasteland from one end to the other, across time, across battles, all the dead and the undead standing there. Such evocative images they were, Gayatri. It's beautiful. And it's a wonderful note to end this particular session on. And I'm very happy with the sort of discussions we've had, the kind of connect that we've made. I think that we are leaving the session as friends. We came in as acquaintances or names that we might have heard or seen on Facebook or something. But now we will be living as friends. And in this particular session, we had poems that talked about life, that talked about experiences of living, of people who are no longer living, barely living, but most importantly, people who are trying to do better than surviving. People who are resilient, strong, and articulate, people who might be tripping over memories as they rise up from their sleep, people who have known the beauty of unconditional love, people who are still reeling under the trauma of an unwanted touch, people who have seen vast legacies of cities, people who are pondering over the meaninglessness and the mindlessness of assaults, and people who are looking at the ways that an incident of violence becomes a political event. But at the end of it, this is a clutch of experiences, a handful of experiences that leads to something very meaningful, that leads to people thinking about those around them as well, which I think in the spirit of universality is very important. So that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
This is wonderful. Really, we felt like a family today, and it was something that everybody could feel. The energy, the vibes, the feelings. It was an incredible session. Thank you all so much. And now the vote of thanks will be delivered by Johanna Devadayavu, member of the Advisory Board of Writers' Capital International Foundation, poetess and humanitarian. Johanna, please. Johanna, ma'am.
Welcome to everyone, and thanks on behalf of Writers' Capital International Foundation and behalf of myself too. Esteemed friends and delegates, wonderful poets from India. I'm Johanna Devadayavu from India, a member of Writers' Capital International Foundation. A special thank you to the Secretary General, Irene Dora Kavatia, who has beautifully introduced this event, and to Sonia Nairji, who has excellently moderated this wonderful session with all the precious and accurate commentaries on all the poems. Thanks to the President, Professor Preet Nambiar, for arranging this third live session of Panorama International Literature Festival. Hearty thanks to all the esteemed delegates and honorable poets for accepting our invitation and for gracing this event by their erudite presence. In times of great turbulence, let us be lighthouses for hope and confidence. May our lights of love shine brightly throughout the whole world. May peace among humanity and love for all life abound. My best wishes to all of you. It was a delightful evening. Thanks. Thanks.
Congratulations and thank you so much, Johanna ma'am. Really, what wonderful verses we indulged in today. Poetry unites us all, giving us wings to fly across all borders. And we all are the proof. Please continue being the beacons of light, conveying across the globe the mighty values of humanity, keeping all darkness at bay. We thank each one of you, esteemed delegates, for being a part of the event with your magnificent literary works. Special thanks to the moderator, Sonia J. Nair, for the beautiful work during the session, with all her meta-interpretations that made our session really meaningful. Thank you so much. And we also thank all our viewers from across the world for watching us live. Goodbye, everyone. We will surely meet again very soon. Thank you all.
So all those in India, good night, and everywhere else, whatever it is the time of your day or night, that. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Stay safe.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Stay safe.
Good night.
Bye-bye.